Hello and welcome, my beautiful Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Let's do your Timeless Path of True Love read. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions since 1998, author of Words of Grace. From a professional witch, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hey, I just got done with a wonderful 1-hour spiritual counseling client. It was delightful. So I had a lovely more than a warm-up, a full workout, and really am ready to read for you. If you would like to book me, I did a video about that, about how to book a reading with me, as well as what goes down in a reading with me before, during, and after. Not just my process, but that I ask my clients to get back to me within 48 hours of the reading to let me know how the energy is settling. And certainly with spiritual counseling clients, I'll make a video on that too, because it's a different process. Definitely. And a lot of times I do 50-50. It's like half tarot, half spiritual counseling. But just really, really loving my career right now. And certainly this is an aspect of it that I enjoy immensely, particularly doing the Path of True Love read. So let's get up in this gig. I did a video, a preface to the Timeless True Love reads. I think we're going to keep that one for a year or so. Kind of crossed every T, dotted every dotted every I. So if you're interested and want to get with the deeper part of what these readings are about, there's a link in the description box as well. Otherwise, we're doing a 24-card spread, a Celtic Cross, 10 positions, but with 2 decks, Daughters of the Moon for the inner, Mythic Tarot for the outer. We're going to kick it off with 2 Carolyn Mace Archetype cards to determine the dominant 8th chakra archetype going on for the Sagittarian on this side and whoever's crossing their path on the path of true love, the cover and the cross of the Celtic Cross spread. But that can jump around, particularly if there is a survival family archetype, which everybody has those for, and that has been happening more often than not in these readings. So it is a general read. You're going to have to kind of feel out the flip-floppiness, and sometimes both sides can be relevant, right? But remember, this reading is about you. The Path of True Love is about your journey, your spiritual path, your hero's journey, your healing journey through your relationships, because all things are lessons the gods would have us learn, and what better way to deliver them than through our relationships. These may be romantic, they may be not. It doesn't matter, because you can heal something in a family pattern that totally heals things in your romantic life, so roll with that. Cool, cool. I guess that's about it, except to say, oh, we're going to end with a Whispers of Love Oracle, Voices of the Higher Selves, and a Mac-Con healing mantra to get you through at least this chapter that you're watching in this Timeless True Love read. Cool, cool. Both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. All the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, and I put them at the bottom because there's lots of cool links on the way down there, including some of my Vimeo on-demand work, particularly the Path of True Love workshops that I recorded, I think, in, 2017, 2018, and there will be a book eventually coming from that material because I need to update it. I've learned a lot walking on the path, and I'm oh so excited to share. So enough of that, enough expository, whatever. Feet on the floor. If you can, please take a nice deep breath. Here we go as I call upon my collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, the ascended masters of the Path of True Love, and the higher selves of all involved, 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra and above. What are the 2 dominant archetypes going on here for the Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading? What is their dominant 8th chakra archetype, the soul power that they are alchemizing from lead to gold, shadow to light, toxic to healthy, pain to peace, that is affecting everything else in their energy field, right? The name of the scene, the powers that are being strengthened within them. We'll take that one down. I'm going to put it face down. I just saw what it was, though. I don't usually take kickers, but that feels right. Who's crossing their path? Same thing, 8th chakra dynamic for them. Now, you already know what these are. They are in the title. You're looking pretty good, but let's see who's crossing your path. A warrior and a teacher. Woo, okay. An action family archetype and a wisdom family archetype. There are 9 families in total, and it doesn't have a survival family archetype for a change. The shadow and the light is written on the card, so this is, if you relate more to this side than this side, this is what the path is about for you where you are, at least at the time of this recording. The shadow, or the time you're watching this recording, the shadow attribute, trading ethical principles for victory at any cost. That's pretty ancient, huh? Indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. Now, it's different, you know, feeling the empathy for the people in the world. This is something that if this is an indifference to the suffering that you would have inflicted on others, or at least had something to do with that. And suffering can come in many different ways, right? The light attribute, strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will. That means toughness of choice, to make a hard decision, but to stick with it. Toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Now, when I see the word heroism, that means villainism is down here. And just keep in mind, every hero plays the villain, sometimes particularly through someone else's eyes, right? I am Batman. No, I'm not. I'm Wonder Boy. Wonder Witch. The teacher archetype, one of my personal favorites. I have this one lifelong. You can have an archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Teacher, I have pretty much lifetime. The shadow attribute, manipulating or abusing students. Teaching negative traits and destructive skills. Well, you can't have your pudding until you've eaten your meat. The light attribute, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. So, you know, if you want to play the divine masculine, divine feminine thing, you can't really on these two, because a literal warrior is gender fluid, right? Wonder Woman. Duh, right? And teacher, someone does not have to be standing in front of a blackboard, a chalkboard, a pen board to be a teacher. This can be an instructor. A facilitator is an interesting word from the French, simple, to make simple. Someone who makes things simple. So feeling more communication on this side than this side, just what's on the table, but let's build. Our Celtic Cross, Daughters of the Moon Tarot, will be the next 4 chakras down, right? I tend to say heart, third eye, crown, but we'll reverse it to say crown, third eye, throat, heart here. This will be all about you, even for the cover card. This might be the energy that you're sort of picking up on them in their heart, third eye, crown. Please take a nice deep breath. Or maybe it's an insight into their interior world. That's why these are general readings. Otherwise, that's just plain old psychic spying. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my goddesses of fire and the sign of Sagittarius, please. We're going to lay these down, face down, 10 cards, and we'll turn them over one at a time. Please, Celtic Cross, what's going on? Heart, throat, third eye, crown. For the warrior here, remember this may flip-flop. What's going on? Heart, throat, third eye, crown that we're allowed to see. For the teacher crossing their path, what's at the core? You know, the subconscious influences. They may not be aware of this unless they're very, very self-aware. I never want to say that's something they just can't see. Sometimes it's stuff that you can see, but you just don't wanna. What's going on there? What's behind them on the path? What they have left behind moving forward into their present moment. That's 2. Just give me 1, please. What is behind them on the path of a true love? What crowns them, sort of orbiting in the energy field, getting ready to touch down, to manifest, to make its way down through the chakra system into physical form, though free will, of course, is involved with the crowning card. Usually you can deal with this, change it or otherwise. What's that going on? Crowning, you could say the crown chakra of the path of true love for them right now. Boop, move you over. What is before them on the path, right? Should this 5th card incarnate in some way, shape, or form? What comes of that before them on the path of true love? We got the cross. Let's do the staff. What is the lesson? The angels, the archangels, all the pantheons of the divine would have them learn on the path from the way things are. That's 2. I don't even want to look at the cards. Just 1, please. What's their lesson? 7th position. Nice, clean, clear. There it is. From the outside looking in, how are they vibing? Horizontal plane. If we were to walk up to them on the street while they're on this path to true love, what would be the vibe they're putting off? At least heart, throat, third eye, crown. What are their hopes and fears? The destiny to be hewn from fate. If they take the hero's journey, if they have the courage, if they do what is required of them on the path of true love, where are they in that journey? You guys a little bit. And what is the most probable outcome according to the timeline of this lifetime for the Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading on the path of true love? They're on the table. Let's start flipping. The Sagittarian, at least how I'm doing this, otherwise it makes me makes my eyes cross. All right. You've got the Warrior archetype in the 8th with the 4 of Pentacles, security. This may very well, and the Blue Jays agree, this might very well be not just your sense of own interior security, right? The wisdom that you've gained. Earth cards on the inner can be a little tricky because it's really water and air and fire and spirit up here. Earth is usually considered an element of the external world. So through your experiences, you may be guarding your heart. Right now, you might be holding on, but that's pretty traditional tarot. This Daughters of the Moon Tarot, I love this card, has 4 women in a tribe taking their urns, I believe they are called breast urns because they're carried at the breast, to the well, the watering hole for the tribe, right? That is big security, so there can be an emotional component, I find, with this card. Therefore, you know, securing your heart. As well as it can also be, and I get this over and over, I didn't always read this card this way, but the energy on it is like you're comfortable in your own skin, right? So that warrior determination. Now, keep in mind, this is an action family archetype, so it's usually about the inner doing something in the outer. We'll get that in the next 10 cards that hit the table. Crossing you, this teacher has the trickster. Here it comes again. Half of the Devil card in the Daughters of the Moon Tarot. The other one being oppression, which is really about those chains, those fears that hold us back. This is more about a little tricky shadow work, that there may be things possessing this person, unfinished business, stuff in the shadow. We are certainly in a shadow work period of, I just don't want to say of time. It seems like in humanity in general, and have been for a while, I don't care where the moon and the sun and the planets are, with all these retrogrades in particular, we're having to kind of look at our shadow, look at our unprocessed pain, as well as you might be vibing off this person that all is not as it appears to be. Now, with that teacher archetype, we could say that they are teaching you a lesson here that they might not even know about. I can't shake the image, even though it's Coyote Woman and certainly a Native American vibe, totemic god, goddess energy there. I can't ever shake Wile E. Coyote when I see that card, right? Super genius, right? They may not know everything they think they know, or they may very well be being used by the divine to teach you a lesson that they are completely and wholly unaware of. That does happen, right? When you get that everything is scripted in this life, like a video game, you have free will in the moment, right? But all the paths are pretty much programmed, if you will. The choices that you make, interior, exterior, right, determine that. So we really want to see what that looks like, but let's get these done first. The Strength card, I did say, the courage, right? Talking about that path of true love, hopes and fears, destiny, 9th card position, right? The Strength card here is about courage, certainly. This is an old definition for me, but it's coming up nice and clear. She's not letting the lioness walking beside her rip her apart, nor does she have it in chains, subjugating it. She's walking with it, right? Taking the journey step by step, but keeping an eye on, perhaps for a warrior at least, the shadow of taking ethical principles for victory at any cost and indifference to the suffering of others and suffering inflicted on others, which is what wild animals do, right? You know, kill or be killed, survival of the fittest. So that might be something in here as well. Now, I will say I've yet to see the Strength card come up where there wasn't some kind of emotional heart chakra. Remember, these cards represent heart, third eye, crown, where there's a real need for courage to follow the heart, maybe not be completely possessed by the stories and the interpretations in the mind. That could be part of this tricky. You might not be seeing this teacher clearly. It's another way to read that. Your shadow might be, clouding your vision, seeing through a lens darkly. New Testament, witch talking New Testament on YouTube. Where is this coming from? 9 of Pentacles. I love it. Malama on the inner definitely speaks to this 4 of Pentacles where you are. This is a sense of not just knowing your worth, but being very, very clear about your boundaries, being very, very clear about what is stable for you, what is right for you. It is the empowered person within themselves, and certainly a lot of wisdom. I wouldn't freak too much about going from a 9 to a 4 here in the spread, only because now you might be getting ready with this warrior to take action. So that place that you were, Malama, Polynesian fertility goddess, right? Definitely having more than enough for herself. The next pentacle would bring it to 10, bring that into other people. This is now you about maybe getting your emotional balance with taking this warrior energy with this 4 of Pentacles security out into the world in action in some way. What crowns this? Yeah, it looks like there's a pause here hovering. The Hanged Man in this deck called Reversal, seeing things differently. If there really is anger and rage and wrath within the heart chakra, wrath is the deadly sin of the heart chakra. The antidote is the grace of healing and the grace of fortitude. Check out my book, Words of Grace. It's in there. Chakra chapter. This is really about surrendering your point of view. Again, the stories that you may have, and with this trickster on the table, and honestly, I see there are 2 ways this is playing out. The original thing I said here, where the trickster is always a teacher in Native American stuff, and is the one that makes you laugh, right? That's a great way out of that super genius, is to laugh, is not take it so seriously, right? The laughing of the coyote. But it might also mean that your perception of this person is not exactly accurate, but exactly as it needed to be, but now you might need to see it differently. Now, with that Hanged Man, it is a voluntary sacrifice at first until we don't, and then life just gets harder until it knocks it out of us. So whatever stress might be going on above water, her face looks concerned, but in the reflection of the water showing her interior world, she is shining with a halo and at peace. Yeah, and it's also saying just go with the river, right? I had a monk tell me many, many years ago that life is indeed a river, metaphor. Yeah, simile, if I said like. Life is a river, that's a metaphor, sorry. And most people are clinging to the branches and the banks, but then they get the crap kicked out of them by the current. It makes so much more sense to just cross your arms, lay on your back and go. Just go with it. So there's a certain surrender here that is your option. It's orbiting above you, up to you whether or not you want to take it. And should you take it, it leads you into the 7 of Blades. Now, the 7 of Swords in traditional tarot, Rider-Waite deck, Pamela Coleman Smith's work, it is that sneaky. Often for self-preservation, but in that self-preservation, missing 2 things, right? You're so distracted over here that something else is going on over here that you may not know about. In this deck, there may be some of that, but the card itself is called Meditation, right? This is a woman with her husky, looks like a husky to me, over a hole in the ice fishing with her spear, like that stillness, listening, waiting, watching, totally in the present moment. So should you take this major arcana into consideration and say, well, maybe I'm not looking at this the right way. Maybe there are some divine tricks being played here, major arcana card, like you could say the traditional 7 of Swords could be similar to that on a micro level. This feels like this might be, the grandiose decision to surrender your will to the divine and see things differently. The prayer for the miracle really is. help me see this differently, right? From the point of view of the soul rather than the ego, which is a sacrifice to the ego, but a blessing to the soul. You return to love, right? Very Marianne Williamson, very Course in Miracles. But this is that stillness. This is that clarity. This is that, not just waiting. There is no waiting when you are in the present moment in stillness, listening. There's so much avian activity around my home, right? I had crows and blue jays. I have a bird feeder, right? While I was doing the reading, just bringing in messages. But to hear a message or receive a message, to even see one, you have to be still. I think there's a missing piece of this puzzle for you on the path of true love that may come in through the inner. We still have more cards to go. Your lesson, the Six of Cups. The key word on it is compassion. Certainly this could be someone from your past, a return, an ebb and flow. As we see a woman here laying on the beach with 5 of her friends, healers, tribe, what have you, laying on of hands as the ocean ebbs and flows. An equal give and receiving of emotional energy. Certainly this could be about you finding the balance of compassion, which I have to say must be part of that warrior thing, right? To take into consideration the suffering inflicted on others and maybe the pain that they have been through that you might have been through as well, right? To really get that we are all going through this together. There's only one of us here. To fill up your own cup with your own compassion, right? It's horrible that we had to go through what we went through, but we're still here, right? This is all part of the path. This didn't happen to us. This happened for us. And therefore, let me look at this relationship on the path of true love differently. Now, I'm going to say already there's nothing here absolutely screaming romantic relationship here. But let's keep going. From the outside looking in, horizontal plane, if we were to look at you on the path of true love, woo, we have got the 7 of Cups. The key word here is jealousy, and we'll get to that in a second. But what we know for sure about the 7 of Cups is there are fantasies going on, emotionally based fantasies. So that's what I feel like. You may not be seeing this person as clearly. Remember, everyone's a teacher. Whether what comes out of their mouth, but usually how they teach by example. Your point of view, the more you can really learn the lesson of compassion for yourself. Yes, it's hard. You know, these lives that we incarnate into, there's all sorts of ancestral stuff that we carry with us, the conditioning from childhood up, from family and society and school and lovers and all those relationships, that to get on the spiritual healing path of true love deliberately, consciously, we can certainly get that we are carrying emotional baggage, that we may have fantasies going on in our heads, and jealousy is certainly one of them. Jealousy is often an intuitive response that says what you want is coming. But how are you dealing with somebody who already has it? Because you don't know what they had to go through to get there. And that's just true. I've had to confront people in my life, it seems mostly women, and this makes sense in a way, that don't realize they are jealous of me, but because of my freedom. It's the deadly sin of envy in the third eye, which you're not seeing truth, you're not seeing clearly. So, you know, it's funny that I'll say the divine feminines, right? They get a little jealous of me because I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want. It's true. I work when I want, which is every day. You know, I eat, but I also sleep with my cats every night. Unless I have a special guest star visiting, which is, you know, few and far between during the past year and a half. But the divine masculines tend to be afraid of my heart, and doesn't that make sense? The divine feminines would be learning the lessons of the third eye, the divine masculines that of the heart. And I should terrify them, because I'm a living archangel, as is everybody in their own way. So, you know, keep an eye out. If someone were to walk up to me, I don't know that they'd say you were out and out deluded. There's a different card for that. But certainly that 7 of Cups. If there is envy, if there is jealousy going on there, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I don't always go with that. Right? But definitely there is some emotional turbulence going on here that may be based on something that is not true. Now, going back to these Earth cards that speak very much about your stability within, these are Earth cards. The opposite element of Earth is air, just like the opposite element of water is fire. Not zodiacally, right? It's always water and earth across from each other, and air and fire, which are complementary opposites. But when we're looking to an earth element to an air element situation, they really are opposites that way. So I think that's why this meditation, this air, is so strong here, and having to kind of sacrifice the way you look at things, because there's something going on there. And honestly, it's not that, oh, jealousy, oh no, how horrible, envy, how horrible. That's stuff that is conditioning. Our souls aren't envious or jealous. That's the ego and the personality going through its awakening process. So if you're envious, get that all right on some level. This is an intuition that what I want is on its way. So it's okay to feel this, but to understand that it's feeling it that heals it, particularly with the water card. Your destiny. Conflict. Four of Flames here. I know, Four of Wands. Everybody wants it to be the damn engagement card. Not in this deck. This is 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. 2 archers, Sagittarius, pointing their bows at each other, but only 1 dragon. And I would say that dragon of conflict is pain, right? Is inflammation. Nobody knows the right decision to make when they're enraged or exhausted or depressed, right? That 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake is I want to, but, right? It's like the heart may want to say yes, the head might want to say no, and the throat, the firepower is saying not right now. Hence this. Hence the I surrender my will to the divine. I place the future in the hands of God. Good old Course in Miracles, lesson number, whatever. To surrender this, right? That you are in conflict. Certainly, if you've got a flaming arrow already notched on the bow and you're unsure, don't shoot, right? Go through that interior process. Your most probable outcome. 2 of Blades. In this deck, analysis, 2 fencers, right? Or at least sword play going on there. And like chess, a lot of analysis is involved. But remember, the analytic process at first, and in a healthy way, is about gathering information. Some of your information may not be accurate, right? So having to look at it from both sides. In fencing, I've never fenced. I've never even had anything fenced. Maybe something somebody stole from me might have gotten fenced, but I'm unaware of that. You really have to know not just your own moves, not just your opponent's move, but like 3 steps ahead, right? It's like choreography, but if they change the choreography, are you ready to change yours, right? So a lot of thinking going on here, just a 2. It's not necessarily overthinking, but I would say, again, this seems to be your dominant vibe here, is to really see this differently. Can you see through the compassion that you must first give to yourself? Go ahead, cry your tears. Whatever is going on here, feel the feelings. I think you might find it has very little to do with this person crossing your path, that they may have delivered the trigger to a catalyst, if you will, that you will be able to take action on in a very, very healthy way, with nobility, with heroism, not justice, maybe not vengeance, because that's the difference between hero and villain. All right, let's see what this looks like. Root, sacrum, solar plexus, completing the chakra spectrum. I know a lot of people only do 7. I work the 8th because that's the home of the archetypes. Mystical power, 3rd level power. Breathe. As I call upon my gods of fire and the sign of Sagittarius, oh great Zeus, please throw the lightning, throw the truth. The Saggies can usually handle it. What's the tea? We'll do these one at a time, face up, clarifying what this looks like from the outside looking in at the Sagittarius, or from their eyes looking out. And sometimes it's both of those things, but when illusions are going on, often it's not. So let's have a look-see-duck-see. What do you got here for the Sagittarian Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading on the path of true love, presenting as the warrior archetype in the 8th, 4 of Pentacles, security on the inner, on the outer, Queen of Pentacles. You got a lot of Pentacles vibe here. And, yep, same side. Here, I believe this is Penelope from the Odyssey. The Queen of Pentacles, the Taurus card with Malama. And look, She's got a bunch of grapes. She's got a gourd, right? A ripe, filled gourd there. So going from the present moment, from this past here, there definitely seems to be an externalization. I feel like this is you standing your ground. So it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe you're dealing with a Taurus in some way, shape, or form. I try not to do that too much. Just confuses the reading in a general read. But I will say second house is about lifelong values, right? The stuff that you can look at, and sometimes we have those values and don't realize it. People always want to make it about money and abundance, and that's fine. Durable goods, home, car, right? Things that are long-term, fixed earth. But for me, like honesty and integrity and authenticity, like you can be authentic and still find out you're wrong, right? You say, this is how I authentically feel, and find out later, oh, I wasn't seeing that right. And that's part of the journey. That's why the compassion, not just for yourself, for others, seems to be your lesson here. So it's fine to stand your ground, right? But know what your values really are here. And it feels like you're presenting yourself that way. So with this teacher crossing your path with the trickster, can you show us what this teacher looks like from the outside looking in, please? Not just perhaps that projection of the trickster, because I'm going to say for some of you, it's just a tricky. Ten of Wands, they're out. They're burnt. They are tired. They are at the end of a cycle of fire. Certainly that image of, like I said, traditional rider-waite, that thing of carrying burdens, though they are home. This is the Jason and the Argonauts, right? They have the golden fleece. The Argo is in pieces, and they're using it to build a bonfire of which someone is trapped, right? Yeah, they got the crown, but they're fried. They are fried. So we might look at somebody here who is a little exhausted, may not be communicating, even though the teacher has skills of communication here. And it might also be that you're done with this person, right? That it's 10 of Wands. I want nothing else from this. I got everything you may not have gotten everything you needed, but you got everything you wanted. And that would make sense then with this card of courage to either say what you need to say, do what you need to do, but that it be heart-centered, that you understand this happened for you, not to you. That's really the rule of the path of true love. As soon as you start popping into victim, it's, why is this happening to me? That is the ego. But the soul has this higher perspective that says, not to us, and it will say us, for us, so that we can grow, so that we can heal, so that we can discover, particular, if life values is how you're fronting here, what's really a value in your heart, right? Is it forgiveness, or is it vengeance? Is it healing, or is it harming? With a warrior archetype, the action that you take, that will be the energy it carries. Even if you say all the right words, if it's rage and wrath in your heart, it's not going to matter. Do you remember somebody look at you and be very, very nice, daggers in their eyes? That's another form of the warrior archetype. So, my gods of fire and Sagittarius, what's this looking like here? From the outside looking in, that strength card. High Priestess, you're not talking about it. Or you haven't really tapped into it yet, because it is in the subconscious position, what's at the core of this. But this certainly says that there's hidden knowledge, perhaps knowledge hidden to you, but it is within your heart. This might also say you're not letting on to anybody what it is that you are going through. So again, you have to take that as it resonates. It is Persephone, Queen of the Dead in this card, no longer the Spring Maiden or the Summer Lady, but the Queen of the Underworld, holding the pomegranate and wilted daisies. I love that image. It's so goth, even though she's wearing all white. Certainly wearing her crown, but also not letting on. There is something so Kabbalistic about the High Priestess card. Not in every single version I've seen of it, but you always see her between two pillars. If you look into the Kabbalah, she represents the third column. Justice and mercy being the other two columns. So how do you balance justice with mercy? Or you could say, you know, that thing for vengeance, balancing that with compassion. A lot of major arcana cards there on the inner. It feels like with the major arcana on the inner and the core and the crown, that there's still some work here to be done, it seems, inside of you. Let's look at that Knight of Pentacles behind them. Lovely Malama on the outside as a result of a conflict. This is the Five of Wands. We're all familiar with the battle, the skirmish. This is, yet again, all the fire cards, the wands in this deck are the Quest of the Golden Fleece. This is Jason and Medea, not necessarily fighting the dragon, because Medea puts the dragon to sleep. And he is able to do that without getting scathed after, by the way, having to do some other tasks. It's a long story. It's a good myth, though. Certainly one looking into in terms of being a hero, right? Because Jason is definitely one of the classic heroes. So there might have been an argument, a skirmish here, a disagreement, but not necessarily verbal. It was inflamed, which does lead me to think that maybe you're burnt out on this, that ton of flames. When you think of this person, you're just like, I just can't right now. Which makes sense if you're doing the internal healing and finding your courage. But this is the card that really seems to be pivotal. Are you willing to reverse on this? Are you willing to see this differently? That you might be seeing this upside down, so turning yourself upside down turns you right side up. Something must be given for something to be gained here. We must exchange our perception for vision. Course in Miracles. Breathe. My gods, this seems pivotal. What does this look like on the outer, please? Three of Blades. Get to the heart of the matter. I'm a little over, I say it over and over, I'm a little over it, meaning heartbreak every single time. Yeah, I get it. It's an air card. It's an air sign. Piercing a heart, getting to the heart of the matter. And certainly in this situation, it's a little brutal. Right? Someone taking a bath. There's a little psycho energy, but horizontal there. I mean, the movie, by the way. That's why I don't stay in motels. If it's not 5-star, I'm not going. There might have been some heartbreak involved in here, and hence maybe you're not seeing that so clearly. Maybe this is really more a setup for a heart healing here. It does feel like with this Seven of Swords, if you can really surrender that and say, all right, yes, my heart is broken, but maybe this is a catalyst, right? We see this differently. This was happening for me on the path of true love instead of to me, then it feels like you're going to move into this Seven of Blades meditation in a much different way. Instead of just spinning your wheels mentally, really getting still. Be still and know I am God. I think that's New Testament too. My gods, what does that look like from the outside looking in before them on the path? Oh, Two of Swords, our first double whammy. You got the Two of Swords here in your outcome, and this is in a way an outcome card, at least of the cross. So there is definitely more information coming in, a lot of analysis, a lot of hearing the ego and then hearing the soul and then getting the information from the inner and getting the information from the outer and sort of balancing that. There's a lot of third eye stuff in the outcome here. I mean, Seven of Blades, Seven of Swords on the inner, Two of Swords on the outer. I think you might... I want to be careful how I want to say this because it's all part of the path, but you might be seeing the present. Once you get into this part of the future, you might realize that you are seeing the present through the lenses of the past and not what's actually going on there. And with that card of jealousy there, because I just saw you got 7 and 7. Never my drink. I am a Malibu and Diet Coke boy if I'm out and about that way. So, you know, there's a lot of thinking going on here. And for Sagittarian, right, the element of air is essential for fire. You can't have fire without air. Some self-inquiry. Try The Work by Byron Katie. That's what it's called, The Work by Byron Katie, Byronkatie. Lovely woman. Yes, her name is Byron. And rather strong YouTube as well as social media presence. Love her. Love the work. Let's look at the Six of Cups here. Your lesson, the Six of Cups, really about compassion. But it comes through so clearly. Absolutely. Do your own heart healing first in silence with nobody knowing about it. That's fine. Take the time you need to do that. But then that healed, compassionate heart, its natural inclination is to flow outwards, right? to be a compassionate warrior, to not burn down the village, but save the village from burning down. What does that look like on the outside, please, in their lesson? 9 of Wands, sure enough. Defensive on the outside, perhaps, but not quite into port. I love this part of the tarot here with this 9 of Wands, because the Argo is stuck on a reef, not quite into harbor. In other words, they're almost there, but they have to wait for the tides to change, the element of water, to do that. What would be the card after that? The 10 of Wands. I think you're going to have some realizations here. But for right now, you may not be ready to talk. You may not be ready to take forward action. Wands are usually about that masculine element of fire. Air and fire are masculine. Water, earth are feminine. That's just how it is. I didn't make it that way, at least not in this life. 7 of Cups on the inner. Again, I don't think you're seeing too clearly on here. Yeah, you may have other options, but I feel like the emotions, there's upset here that is perhaps based on a misunderstanding. Something as simple as that. You know how one little misunderstanding can, turd in the punch bowl. What's this look like from the outside looking in? 3 of Pentacles. There is definitely a willing here to eventually reestablish a foundation, at least an initial foundation here of collaboration, friendship, or at least a new understanding to which to build upon. 3 of Pentacles is certainly the lattice work upon which you build a grapevine. I'm growing grapevines this year, so I'm learning all about how vine culture, viniculture, and all of that. But my sense on it, though, is that, you know, if that jealousy is dominant, nobody likes to admit they're jealous. Me? Har, har, hardy, har, har. Yeah, no. It's a deadly sin, the deadly sin of envy. It's in my book, Third Eye. The third eye, which the graces that, the antidote that heal the deadly sin of envy, is the grace of knowledge, sacred knowledge, seeing only truth, and the grace of clarity. Through a lens darkly, maybe? But there is still something stable here, at least from you from the outside looking in. This theme of Pentacles, you certainly go from a 5 to a 3, so I feel like that internal security is manifesting itself here on the outer. But, you know, it's the inner here that needs to be dealt with. Of course, in the Destiny position, we've got the 4 of Flames, that card of conflict. 2 archers on fire, 1 dragon. Very important lesson here. Something's got to give, but something is being transformed here. What does this look like on the outer for them on the path? 3 of Cups. So 2 3s in a row here. Definitely this is about an emotional connection for you. I don't necessarily get that this is a marriage, right? It is a marriage card in this deck. It's Eros and Psyche, the marriage of Eros and Psyche, but she hasn't seen him. She hasn't seen his face. Read the myth, fascinating myth about what we go through on the path of true love, right? It is that blind faith, because Eros, the god of love, is one of the most gorgeous gods in the pantheon. I'm not going to say the most gorgeous. I ain't stupid. I'm not going up against them like that. They made me. But doesn't want her to see him. Wants her to love him as he is without the divine enchantment of the divine, right? Because how many people fall in love with him every single day? Meh. All day long, all night long. But he really loves her. Well, he pricked himself on one of his golden arrows. Try gloves. I don't know. So there's definitely an emotional bond here. This could be a friendship. This could be a family member, certainly. But the conflict is there, and it is serving you to find your own alchemy. I just don't think everybody's seeing things clearly here. It might be both sides. Could be just you. Could be just them. Although I see with that 7 of Cups, you got some stuff to heal here and to see differently with that card of reversal. So with this 2 of Blades, that shows up in your outer here before you, what's coming before you on the path, ends up in your outcome here on the inner. Please, what does this look like for the outer? Last tarot card down, the Star. Good. There is healing. You will see higher purpose as you continue gathering the information, not just from the outside, but what rises up. Pray for the grace of knowledge. Grant me the grace of knowledge, the third eye grace of knowledge and the grace of clarity, that I may seek only truth in this situation, even if it hurts, even if it's uncomfortable. Help me to get to the heart of the matter here and see this differently from the soul's perspective, from the higher self's perspective, not only the perspective of the ego, which is going to make everything an enemy, which is certainly the shadow side of the warrior, winning at all costs, or the personality that might be very, very uncomfortable with even the concept of not seeing things clearly. Oh, we're done with these. All right, but the star card, if you're going to end with a card there, this is very, very tricky. I love the stability. I feel like you know your worth as a result of this in a different way. But somebody's not seeing things clearly here. Yeah, you're defensive, but that's fine. You're almost home on this. But do the emotional work. Your lesson here is really about being compassionate with yourself and whoever else is involved here, but you got to fill up your cup first. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's false. No, it's a trickster. Whispers of Love Oracle, Voices of the Higher Selves. Let's see what this is about. Breathe. As I call upon the higher selves, ooh, I felt that in my crown, of all involved here for this Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign path of true love reading here for the ones that are watching, the ones receiving. What is the fifth dimensional, eighth chakra, and above piece of information, inspiration, or insight most needed on the path of true love for the Sagittarians watching this in this warrior teacher spring? Have patience. Love is kind and patient always, and that is true of the soul. That is true of true love, and we do have true love within us. It is who we really are. The point of the path of true love readings are to point you towards three things. Lower three chakras, to be loved, right? To allow in the love coming from others. Second level of power, heart, third eye, crown, is to be loving. Certainly in that compassion card. And the third part of it is to be the love that you always are, because we are creations of the divine. God, Goddess, Zeus, Buddha, Jesus, call whoever you want. Love, right? So this love is kind, is patient and kind always. So if you're not feeling patient and you're not feeling kind, love yourself for that, certainly. Work through it. But then you are not coming from love. You are coming from fear. You are coming from rage. You are coming from anger. And people say, how could people do something like that? Well, they're inflamed. Yeah. They're overloaded. They're in pain, unfinished business, shadow work, etc. Let's get you that healing mantra, and then I will put it all together for you. Matt Kahn Healing Mantra Deck, one of the most powerful card systems I've ever worked with. Not divination, I do call it a healing system, but I'm using it for divination, which means interaction with the divine. Please take a nice deep breath. Yeah, that meditate. They're just saying that meditation card, because the two of blades, the two of swords you got going here on the outer, the analysis is only taking you so far. It really is that stillness. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know that it is but me. It is but me that I would crucify, right? It's like that it's your pain in play as well as perhaps theirs here, seeing through a glass darkly. So please, my ascended masters of the path of true love, what is the perfect healing mantra for the Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in this warrior teacher contract? Honoring adversity. A fire reveals a path of renewed direction once the burning is complete. Ain't that just true, planet Earth, right now? Yeah, no immediate action. No immediate action. You don't know what to do, hence all this analysis. But I'm going to say this, you're getting up in your head. This is saying you need to get up, get into your heart, get up in your heart, whatever. But no one needs to know about it. This feels more mystical, more spiritual, certainly. With two major arcana cards at the core here, your answers lie within, but they're not going to be easy answers. They may not be what you want, but however, getting to the heart of the matter and surrendering your point of view, allowing the divine to show you something else, that's on the table here. Let me read you this. Honoring adversity, a fire reveals a path of new direction once the burning is complete. In other words, the situation may be surrounded by fire, but maybe the burning is almost complete. When adversity is honored, and that's part of compassion, honor the adversity that all of humanity has been through in the past year and however many months. Honor the adversity of what you have been through. That's, I feel like, where you have this wisdom inside of you that is starting to show itself with that warrior archetype, with that security within. When adversity is honored, life is appreciated as oscillating cycles of deterioration and renewal. All that rises falls. All that builds erodes. Just how it goes. Deterioration is the natural process of new things becoming old, while renewal is the process of old things becoming new. So it does feel like there's a possible, with these threes here, a possible reconnection here in the future. Definitely part of the destiny here, but you got to resolve that conflict within yourself. We all do. As you learn to honor those two interconnected processes, just as naturally as the changing of the seasons, you are able to embrace adversity. It is not a punishment, but a gift of renewal birthed out of the ashes of erosion. So, though I'm not seeing the death card here, there's an awful lot of fire, right? And an awful lot of surrender. Learn to see this differently. Well, I should be able to see it differently. This situation is teaching you how to see it differently, no question, and compassionately. This mantra is ideal for processing unforeseen changes. Planet Earth, white courtesy telephone, please. Overcoming superstitious beliefs, which we are riddled with. Well, if they did this, then this would mean this, and if I do that, that'll do that, and it's stories, right? That can absolutely be part of that Seven of Cups, right? That superstitious stuff that's handed down. Not all about step on a crack, break your mother's back, although I guess it depends on whose crack it is. And surrendering the ego. Surrender Dorothy. I mean, you can say both Glinda and Elphaba are the shadow sides of Dorothy if you want to go there. But remember, the wicked wasn't really wicked and the good wasn't so good. Particularly in the book. So honoring adversity from the path of the Ascended Masters of the Path of True Love. Honor the pain that you've been through. But this person's not necessarily responsible for it. I feel like that's what the Coyote card is. I mean, unless they were just underhanded, stinky, horrible, 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 horrible. But then I would say as a teacher, that they're a teacher here, then you are the student. Now, if there is some kind of institutional abuse going on there, you know what I'm talking about, then absolutely, that is a different read altogether, and you need more than tarot for something like that. You need a lawyer and a therapist. Sorry, it's just how it is. But that's not my sense here. It feels like that thing of the coyote. Your mind has made a conclusion. Super genius. You know his plans never go well. Right? He always ends up with that poof at the bottom of the canyon. Sabotorial energy here for sure. But with that Ten of Wands, it feels like you're kind of burned out on this, or they're burned out on you, or you're both burned out on each other. And that's okay, because the burning is not complete. Honor the adversity, and if you can, honor the adversity of everybody else involved here. That we're all still in the crucible of transformation, not just what we're going through health-wise on the planet, politically on the planet, global politically on the planet, but also what we're going through with planetary ascension, which is not a pretty process. I don't know why anybody ever would believe it would be. It's living through the crucible. It's alchemy, which takes time, pressure, and heat. Let me put it all together for you. Grab my torch of Ariel. Please take a nice deep breath. Give me the words. May the Sagittarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they truly need on the path of true love in this timeless reading whenever they should be watching it. That they can discover the strength, skill, discipline, toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego that they need, dealing with this teacher archetype who hopefully is using their ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, and wisdom, the light sides of both of that's what you're both shooting for here. While the Sagittarian here really shows a stability, a strength, a security within. Four of Pentacles with that Queen of Pentacles on the inside, but maybe even a bit stubborn, unwilling to see things differently. That's certainly in that too. Dealing with somebody where there is definitely a coyote trickster energy here, but trickster gods are trickster gods. They teach lessons and often have to trick you into it, and there might be a completion here, or at least a closing of the cycle within this relationship for now, though it does show some possibilities, some hope at the end, that there can be some healing here for both, and maybe a Three of Pentacles bond being done, but at the core here, that they find the courage and the strength within to feel what they have to feel and deal what they need to deal with themselves that no one else needs to know about. This is their own quiet, private practice, even if they are dealing with somebody in private practice, seeing a counselor, a therapist, talking to whatever, talking this out, because certainly there was a Five of Wands, an argument, a conflict of wills here, of seeing things the same way, that definitely, made them stronger on the inside. That Nine of Pentacles, really understanding their own worth as a result of it, and the wisdom that they have gained from it may not have completely integrated where they see all of it. Hence this Three of Swords crowning with the Hanged Man reversal on the inner. Them really saying, I'm going to get to the heart of the matter, but I can't do that with preconceived notions. I have to take those preconceived notions, understanding that I may not be seeing this differently, because we're all one, and this world is but a dream. Shaboom. And will lead them to this place of deeper stillness and meditation, so that they can maybe even look at all the analysis, all the thoughts, all the conversations from a more still, silent place, knowing they are God, divine, spirit, soul within, and it's helping them see things differently. Because their lesson definitely has to do with it's okay to be guarded. It's okay to have your defenses up. You're maybe stuck on a reef, but you are almost home here. And the lesson here is to feel that equal give and exchange of compassion, but may they fill their cups first. May they love whatever arises within them. To me, the mantra of compassion is it's okay to feel this. It may not be completely accurate. It may not even be what really went out, but it's okay to feel this. This is part of the journey. This is part of the journey. It's watching the movie. We don't know what's going to happen, particularly if there is jealousy, envy, emotional upset, cloudiness, fantasies going on here regarding a Three of Pentacles situation here, where there is a solid foundation that was built here, but maybe not being seen clearly. The destiny here, certainly with the Three on the outer, would be some sort of healthy balance here with that Three of Cups, a rebonding of emotional energy, but not at the expense of avoiding the conflicts within. This could be the end of a friendship or a real transformation, because we see that conflict both in the past as well as here in the destiny. So this might be a repeating pattern for them with this person or somebody else, but if they're presenting as the teacher, they're definitely teaching, whether they are aware of it or not. Ending most probable outcome with all this analysis, all of this back and forth, really engendering more hope. That I do not see any immediate action or communication going on between these two, but certainly I do see prayers offered. I see they're showing me that higher perspective of the star that is higher than the sun and the moon as far as our atmosphere and planetary position goes. So really the higher self perhaps intervening here, a healing, a blessing, and maybe even through the internal analysis seeing how all of this was about grace, all of this was about blessing, that all of this can be healed by taking the power of true love, at least on their end. The other person has their free will as well. So may they be blessed with this, with patience, that they really get that love is kind and patient always, but let that start within, while they honor the adversity of themselves and everyone involved here. For the fire will reveal a path of renewed direction once the burning is complete, and it doesn't feel like this is wholly complete just yet, but may it be completed under grace and in perfect ways, and may true love conquer all for the well-being of all, and with harm to none, as we will it. So let it be done. So mote it be. And so it is. It's a long read, but that's why I do the shorter ones when I'm not doing these. They're marathons, but they are worth it. If you want to go deeper, there's a video explaining not just how to book me for a reading, but what goes on in those readings. If you did not watch the Path of True Love video that I did, the preface to these readings, you might want to check that out. This will probably make more sense. And certainly, I don't always talk about my book, Words of Grace. I mean, I'm going to plug my work. It's a good book. It's helping a lot of people. Essentially, a book of prayer broken down into chakra chapters, with some cool chapters at the end. But so have at it. You know how to reach me then. And I'm really looking forward to making a video like I did for the readings, but what goes on in the spiritual counseling and what the boundaries are there. Because that is really, I love doing spiritual counseling. Otherwise, wishing you all so very much. If you like, subscribe, all that jazz, comment if you feel it in this read. Otherwise, wishing you the very best and the very blessed on the path of true love whenever you should be watching this, my beloved Sagittariuses. Hail. Farewell, and blessed, blessed be.